All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome back for another daily AI News Chronicle, right here on the AI Unraveled podcast by Etienne Newman. That's me. I'm a senior software engineer from Canada, bringing you all the latest and greatest in the world of AI every single day.
That's right. And today we're taking a deep dive into the AI news that broke on February 15th, 2025.
Ooh, very futuristic.
If you want to stay ahead of the curve, you've come to the right place.
Buckle up. From memory upgrades to mysterious new models, and even AI video generation. This was a big day in AI.
It really was. Let's start with Google's Gemini. I just got a serious memory upgrade, meaning it can now remember past conversations and your preferences.
So no more repeating yourself to the chatbot. I, for one, welcome our new AI overlords who actually listen.
Well, it's not quite sentience, but this upgrade does allow for a more personalized and nuanced interaction. Think about it. Context is key in human communication, right? This upgrade lets Gemini mimic that to some degree.
It's like having a digital assistant that actually gets to know you over time. But here's the kicker. This memory feature is only for Gemini Advanced subscribers.
So if you want your AI to remember you, you've got to pay up.
Classic.
Interesting how certain features might become premium in the AI world. Makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Okay, shifting gears to Anthropic, the company behind the Claude model. They've been pretty quiet lately, but the rumor mill is buzzing about a potential new Claude model.
That's right, and rumor has it this new model could be even more powerful than OpenAI's GPT 4.5. What's really intriguing is the talk of a hybrid approach to its development.
Hybrid approach, what does that even mean in the AI world?
So traditional language models are great at generating text, but they haven't always been the best at deep reasoning and logic. This hybrid model suggests a blend of both, allowing for more complex problem-solving and comprehension.
So not just mimicking human language, but actually starting to think a little bit more like us? Is that what we're getting at here?
Potentially, yes. And it's interesting to note that ChatGPT is also moving towards a similar hybrid model. Could this signal a larger trend in AI development?
Now let's talk about something that sounds straight out of science fiction. YouTube Shorts are getting a VO boost. Can you imagine generating entire video clips just by typing in what you want?
It sounds pretty wild, right? But that's exactly what YouTube is rolling out. They're integrating Google's VO AI tools, which means creators will be able to go from simple backgrounds to full-fledged video clips using just text prompts.
This is going to be huge EE for creators.
Yeah.
Especially those who might not have access to, like, fancy cameras or editing software.
Yeah.
Talk about democratizing video creation.
Absolutely. Though it does raise some interesting questions. Won't this further blur the lines between real and AI-generated content? How do we ensure transparency as this technology becomes more widespread?
Those are important questions that we'll need to address. But for now, let's move on to the AI Agent Leaderboard, a ranking of how different AI agents perform on various tasks.
It's like the Olympics of AI. And guess who's sitting at the top? Gemini Flash 2.0. Beating out some pretty pricey competitors.
So not only is Gemini getting a memory upgrade, but its Flash 2.0 version is also proving to be a top performer. Looks like Google's making some serious moves in AI development.
They certainly are, and we're just scratching the surface of the news from February 15th.
Before we jump into the next batch of updates, we want to take a quick moment to thank you, our amazing listeners. The AI Unraveled podcast is brought to you completely free of charge, because we believe everyone should have access to this vital information.
That's right. We're incredibly passionate about sharing our knowledge and keeping you informed about the ever-evolving world of AI. If you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep the lights on, consider leaving a review, reading the podcast, or even making a small donation. Every little bit helps us continue bringing you the AI news that matters.
You can find a donation link in the show notes. Now, back to the news. The UK government has decided to rebrand its AI regulatory body, changing it from the Center for AI Safety to the AI Security Institute.
This might seem like a small change, but it's actually quite significant. What do you think it tells us about the evolving perception of AI?
Well, shifting from safety to security seems to suggest a greater focus on the geopolitical implications of AI, almost as if it's becoming a matter of national security.
Exactly. It implies that AI is no longer being viewed solely through an ethical lens, but is increasingly seen as a critical factor in global power dynamics.
And speaking of powerful figures in the AI world, Elon Musk is back in the headlines, claiming that his company xAI has developed Grok 3, an AI model that he says outperforms all others.
Of course he does. Musk is known for his bold pronouncements. But to be fair, the speed at which Grok has been developed is pretty remarkable, even if we take his claims with a grain of salt.
And to add even more intrigue to the mix, a letter of intent from Musk to acquire OpenAI has been leaked to the press. What's going on here?
It's a story that's rapidly unfolding, and we'll be following it closely. But for now, let's move on to some major legal developments. That could have a ripple effect throughout the entire AI industry.
Let's talk copyright chaos. We've got two contrasting stories here. First up, Thomson Reuters just won a major copyright case in the U.S., setting a precedent for AI-generated content and ownership.
This is a landmark case, and it's sure to have far-reaching consequences for how AI companies approach data training and content generation.
But then on the flip side, we have over a dozen news publishers suing Cohere for allegedly using their content to train AI models without permission.
So on one hand, we have a legal victory that strengthens the rights of companies generating content using AI. And on the other, we have a lawsuit that raises questions about what constitutes fair use when it comes to training AI models.
It's a legal battleground that's only going to get more complex as AI continues to evolve.
Absolutely. Now hold on tight for the rapid fire round. We've got some quick updates from Baidu and Anthropic that you won't want to miss.
First up, Baidu is making its Ernie chatbot free to use, hoping to boost adoption and compete with the likes of DeepSeek.
It's a bold move that could shake up the chatbot market. And speaking of shaking things up, Anthropic just raised a staggering $350 million for its Apollo robot.
Whoa, that's a serious chunk of change. Imagine a world where robots are commonplace, helping us with everyday tasks.
That future might be closer than we think, thanks in part to investments like this. But that's not all, folks.
We have even more news and in-depth analysis coming up in part 2 of our February 15th AI News Roundup.
But before we go, we want to quickly mention that we offer advertising slots right here on the AI Unraveled podcast. It's a great way to reach a tech-savvy audience that's passionate about AI and the future of technology.
You can find more information about advertising with us in the show notes. Don't miss part 2.
Welcome back to part 2 of our deep dive into the whirlwind of AI news that broke on February 15th, 2025. We've got even more to unpack, so let's jump right back in.
All right, let's pick up where we left off. We were just talking about the UK government's decision to rebrand its AI regulatory body as the AI Security Institute. I'm curious to see what this shift in focus means in practice.
Well, it seems they're already making moves. The AI Security Institute just signed a memorandum of understanding with Anthropic, the company behind the Claude AI model.
That's interesting. What could be the reasoning behind a government agency partnering up with a private AI company like Anthropic?
It suggests a growing trend of collaboration between governments and private companies in the AI space. Remember, AI development isn't just happening in research labs anymore. It's moving into the real world with implications for national security, economic competitiveness, and even global power dynamics.
So it's not just about regulating AI, but also about actively shaping its development and deployment in a way that aligns with national interests.
Precisely. And Anthropic, with its focus on responsible AI development and its emphasis on safety and governance, seems like a natural partner for a government agency that's trying to navigate this complex landscape.
It makes you wonder what specific projects or initiatives might emerge from this collaboration. Could we see new regulations or guidelines for AI development in the UK? Perhaps even setting a precedent for other countries?
It's certainly a possibility. And it highlights how AI is becoming increasingly intertwined with geopolitical considerations. It's no longer just a technological issue, it's a strategic one as well.
Speaking of strategic issues, those copyright lawsuits we touched on earlier, really sending shockwaves through the AI industry. The case against Cohere in particular raises some fundamental questions about data usage and intellectual property in the age of AI.
Absolutely. This isn't just about one company. It's about setting a precedent that could impact how all AI companies source and utilize data for training their models.
To recap, Cohere is being sued by a group of major news publishers who allege that the company used their content without permission to train its AI models. Essentially, they're arguing that Cohere is profiting from their work without proper authorization or compensation.
And it brings us back to that thorny question of where we draw the line between fair use and outright theft when it comes to AI training data. On the one hand, these models need massive amounts of data to learn and improve. On the other hand, content creators have a legitimate right to protect their intellectual property.
It's a classic case of competing interests.
Yeah.
And the outcome of this lawsuit could have a ripple effect throughout the entire AI ecosystem.
Imagine a scenario where AI companies are forced to pay for every piece of data they use to train their models. It could significantly increase the cost of AI development, potentially slowing down the pace of innovation.
Or conversely, if the court rules in favor of Cohere, it could set a precedent that makes it much easier for AI companies to access and utilize publicly available data, even without explicit permission from the original creators.
It's a decision with far-reaching consequences, and we'll be watching it closely to see how it unfolds.
Now let's shift gears back to Elon Musk and his grand AI ambitions. We already talked about his new Grok 3 model and that surprising bid to acquire OpenAI. But there's more to the story, isn't there?
Oh, there's always more to the story when it comes to Elon Musk. Remember that leaked letter of intent we mentioned? Well, it contains some rather interesting details about his proposed acquisition of OpenAI.
Like what? Spill the tea.
Well, for starters, he's offering a jaw-dropping $97.4 billion for OpenAI, all in cash.
Wow. That's a serious pile of money, even for someone as wealthy as Elon Musk. But something tells me there's a catch. He's not exactly known for making straightforward deals.
You're right. The letter includes some conditions that are raising eyebrows. Musk is demanding full access to all of OpenAI's records, including their research data, source code, even internal communications. It's an unprecedented level of access that some are interpreting as a power grab.
It does seem a bit excessive. What could be his motivation for such a move?
It's hard to say for sure. Some speculate that he sees OpenAI's technology as a key component in his vision for XAI, wanting to integrate their advancements into his own projects.
Others suggest that he's simply trying to disrupt the AI landscape, shaking things up and asserting his dominance in the field.
Whatever his motivations, one thing is clear. If this acquisition goes through, it could have a seismic impact on the future of AI.
Imagine the implications. Elon Musk, with his ambition, his resources, and his sometimes controversial approach to technology. At the helm of one of the most powerful AI companies in the world, it's a scenario that's both exhilarating and a little bit terrifying.
It's a reminder that the future of AI is being shaped right now by the decisions of powerful individuals and companies.
Before we move on to part 3, let's take a quick moment to remind our listeners that the AI Unraveled podcast is brought to you completely free of charge. We believe that everyone should have access to this vital information, regardless of their background or financial situation.
If you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep the lights on, consider leaving a review, rating the podcast, or even making a small donation. Every little bit helps us continue bringing you the latest and greatest in AI news and analysis. You can find a donation link in the show notes.
And now for the grand finale. Stay tuned for part 3 of our February 15th AI News Extravaganza. We'll be exploring some surprising developments, pondering the implications of this AI-powered future, and leaving you with some thought-provoking questions to consider.
Don't miss it.
We're back for the final part of our February 15th, 2025 AI News Odyssey. Are you ready to wrap up this wild ride through the world of artificial intelligence?
I am, yeah. We've covered a lot of ground, that's for sure. From memory-enhanced chatbots to international partnerships and those high-stakes legal battles, remember. But as promised, we saved a particularly juicy tidbit for last.
Ooh, okay. You've been teasing this for a while now. Let's talk about Elon Musk's potential OpenAI acquisition. That leaked letter of intent has everyone buzzing.
Rightfully so. That letter reveals that Musk is offering a staggering $97.4 billion for OpenAI, all cash.
Wow, that's a king's ransom, even for someone like Elon Musk. But we know there's always more to this story. What are the strings attached to this offer?
Well, Musk is demanding complete access to OpenAI's company records. We're talking research data, source code, even internal communications. That level of access is pretty much unheard of in acquisitions.
That's a bold move. Why would OpenAI even consider such invasive demands?
That's the million-dollar question. Some industry insiders are whispering that OpenAI might be facing financial headwinds and could be pressured to accept, even with those conditions.
But wouldn't that give Musk a level of control over one of the most powerful AI companies in the world? That's, well, kind of unsettling.
Exactly. Think about it. He's already pushing boundaries with XAI and his Grok 3 model. Now imagine combining that with OpenAI's resources and talent pool. It's a potential AI powerhouse, unlike anything we've ever seen.
This feels like a major turning point for the entire AI landscape.
It really does, and it raises so many questions. Will OpenAI agree to Musk's terms? If so, what does that mean for the future of their research and development? Will they maintain their focus on ethical AI development under Musk's leadership?
I guess only time will tell. This is a story that could have major ramifications for years to come.
It underscores the fact that the future of AI isn't predetermined. It's being shaped right now by the decisions of powerful individuals and companies.
And that brings us back to the question we've been grappling with throughout this entire deep dive. Where is all of this leading? Are we on the cusp of a true AI revolution?
The answer, as with most things in life, is probably somewhere in between. AI is transforming the world around us at an incredible pace. That much is undeniable. But it's still too early to say definitively what the ultimate impact will be.
One thing is clear, though. AI is no longer just a futuristic fantasy. It's here, it's real, and it's changing the game in ways we're only beginning to understand.
And that's what makes this such an exciting, albeit slightly unnerving time to be alive. We're living through a period of extraordinary technological advancement, and it's up to each of us to engage with these developments, ask tough questions, and help shape the future we want to see.
Speaking of shaping the future, we wanted to quickly remind our listeners that you can be a part of the AI Unraveled podcast community. If you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep the lights on, consider leaving a review, rating the podcast, or even making a small donation.
You can find a donation link in the show notes. Every little bit helps us continue bringing you the latest and greatest in AI news and analysis.
And for any businesses out there looking to reach a tech-savvy audience that's passionate about AI, we offer advertising slots right here on the AI Unraveled podcast.
It's a great way to connect with potential customers who are on the cutting edge of technology. You can find more information about advertising with us in the show notes.
That's it for today's deep dive. We hope you enjoyed our deep dive into the whirlwind of AI news that broke on February 15th, 2025.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay ahead of the AI curve.